Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, grief counseling for Little London Primary on Monday following death of principal. Grief counseling has been scheduled for Monday for the Little London Primary family that has been plunged into mourning following the death of the school's principal a few days ahead of the new academic year. The passing of Charlotte Craig Davis, who was head of the institution for approximately a decade, has resulted in the pushing back of the start of classes by a day. Reports surfaced of Craig Davis's passing on Saturday, 2 weeks after she met in a motor vehicle crash. Craig Davis had experienced a headache following the accident and sought medical attention at a hospital where she was prescribed medication and sent home. However, she later suffered 2 strokes and was rushed to the University Hospital of the West Indies, where she died. News of the passing has shocked the school family, church, and the community in the parish. On Sunday, a team of teachers and the church members visited her home and shared their sympathy and grief counseling. School board chairman Hilda Hibbert told the news that a team from the Ministry of Education is expected to visit the institution on Monday. So tomorrow we will have grief counseling, meeting with the staff and so forth on the campus, and then on Tuesday we will have the children come back to school, stated Hibbert. Hibbert was unable to provide the details of Tuesday's proceeding. They will be told the situation. We want to continue with them too long because we don't want anything otherwise than they knowing of the situation, trying to calm them, and we see how best we can handle further on, stated Hibbert. Town Councillor Margerie McFarland has died. The news understands that a councillor for the Town division in Clarendon Northern, the Jamaica Labour Party's Margerie McFarland, has died. McFarland died at approximately 1 p.m. on Sunday. Her death is sending shockwaves throughout the governing party's political machinery in the constituency, which is represented in the House of Representatives by Dwight Sibley's. Her cause of death is not immediately clear. Preliminary information is that foul play is not suspected, and McFarland died of natural causes. McFarland won 1,403 51.69% of votes in the recent local government election to defeat the PNP's Delroy Dawson's 1,311 votes, or 48.31%, a shock win for the JLP in the division. It was the first time a JLP representative won that division. Her passing reduces the JLP's 12-10 majority in Clarendon Municipal Corporation to a razor-thin 11-10 margin. More than 30% of institutions in Manchester fall short of public health requirements. Close to 70% of the 217 educational institutions across Manchester have been dubbed satisfactory based on public health requirements, but the remaining schools have been struggling with issues including pest control, sewage leaks, and water sanitation. In a report from the Manchester Health Department dated August 31, recommendations have also been made for 4 schools to treat their water before school reopens today. These are Grovetown Primary, Woodlands Primary and Infant School, and Marley Hill Primary and Infant. The main concern identified at the schools was water sanitation. There was also an issue with inadequate pest proofing at Grovetown Primary and Marley Hill Primary. Inspection was carried out last month by the Manchester Health Department in light of concerns raised about the health condition in the schools. Unsatisfactory conditions in schools were primarily due to inadequate pest control, school canteens not meeting food handling regulations requirement, dysfunctional excreta disposal facilities, and water sanitation, stated the report. The schools cited as unsatisfactory were provided with the necessary recommendations to remedy the breaches for the start of the new school year. Additionally, the Manchester Health Department will continue to carry out inspections within the first 2 weeks of the school year to find out the extent to which those schools that were deemed unsatisfactory have fully complied with public health requirements. Vector control activities are also being done across the parish, including the school compounds. Fogging exercises will also continue into the start of the new school year. According to the report, Prattville Primary and Infant School has been relocated due to ongoing renovation work affected by Hurricane Beryl, which damaged the roof. The primary school will operate from Asia Seventh-day Adventist Church, and the infant school will be at the Prattville Assembly of God. The Adventist Church was assessed and deemed satisfactory. However, the other church is to be assessed today after the first visit fell through. The report further noted that Plowden Primary and Infant was visited twice last month, but was closed on each occasion. The school suffered major damage to its roof during the passage of Hurricane Beryl, and no repair work reportedly has been done. The inspection team, as a result, will revisit the school today. During a visit to the school reported on in the news last week, the news observed that several feet of electrical wires carrying power from the roadway to the main building hung precariously, creating a significant hazard. Principal Karen Smith had raised a concern about the threat posed by wires, noting that it needed to be fixed urgently and that it had been reported to the relevant authorities. Also at the back, there needs to be repairs to the electricity system, as the connections to the infant department and the grade 1 need urgent repairs. Failing that, there will be no light in the infant and the grade 1 sections, she had indicated. The team also stopped at Marley Hill Primary, where several water tanks that were dislodged by the hurricane were observed on the ground. However, workers were seen cutting overgrown grass and building a facility to store garbage awaiting collection by the authorities. Several schools in the parish, especially those in the southern section, which were heavily ravaged by the hurricane, are still grappling with the effects of the disaster, which has created further challenges ahead of today's beginning of the new school year. MP calls for disaster to be declared in St. James East Central due to Saturday's flooding. Member of Parliament for East Central St. James, Edmund Bartlett, has recommended that sections of his constituency be declared a disaster zone by the government after heavy showers associated with a tropical wave devastated several communities Saturday evening. At least 2 cars were washed away in Johns Hall due to the deluge, and several homes were also flooded. In an interview with the news, Mr. Bartlett said many families have been left devastated by the flood, arguing that what it has done to several communities, the roadways in Johns Hall, in Worcester, in Blackshop, in Dam Road area, in Springmount, in Sunderland, in Lottery, in Burnt Ground, and the areas around is absolutely disastrous. He said he has already spoken with the Minister of Works for assistance, noting as well that the situation will be a major challenge for families who were preparing for the reopening of school today. It creates a huge difficulty for commuters to traverse the area, he observed.
The amount of rain that fell was absolutely unusual. I don't have the inches of rain that fell in terms of precise amount, but certainly what it has done by way of damage to several communities, what it has done to the roadways in Johns Hall, in Worcester, in Blackshop, in Dam Road area, in Springmount, in Sunderland, in Lottery, in Burnt Ground, and the areas around is absolutely disastrous. The situation in that whole area is what now can be described as a disaster zone. Tomorrow school opens and it creates a huge difficulty for commuters to traverse the area and to get to their work, as well as to go to their fields and of agricultural pursuits, and obviously the children to go to school. I am, as the MP, declaring that whole area disaster area and appealing, of course, to the NWA, whose team has been there, and I must thank them for coming to clear some of the roadways last night so that there could be true passage for hundreds of commuters who were coming in from Montego Bay, heading to their homes in that area.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.